north of I-40. Got a feeling they'll extend this even a little further east over the next hour or so because these storms are moving very rapidly. These are severe thunderstorm warnings for all of southeast Kentucky. They go until 1:45. Fentress and Scott County, that goes until 1:30. So let's talk about the radar, what we're looking at here. We're looking at this bowing segment, we like to call it. It looks like a backwards letter C, and oftentimes what happens with these is you get the potential for some damaging wind gusts. Right through here is where that problem is going to be. And these storms are moving east at between 55 and 65 miles per hour. So just the forward speed, you're going to see winds in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. So it's moving into Oneida, Pine Knot, Kentucky right now. Heads up Campbell County. You're probably going to be next with this warning. In fact, I'm pretty sure you will be as the storm continues to move east. We were looking inside this earlier, and there have been, oftentimes what you see is along this is you get these little kinks that develop in a straight line. So these little indentations that we see here sometimes is where you can see the quick little spin ups for some isolated tornadoes. For the most part, this will be damaging winds. That's bad enough. 60, 70 mile per hour winds, that's going to cause damage. So we need to take these warnings seriously, make sure you're in your safe spot. But oftentimes what we'll see as well with these little spin-ups, these little isolated tornadoes can develop along this line as well, and that can cause additional damage. So at times you may see these tornado warnings that get issued along this line as well. But as of right now, we're talking about the potential for some damaging wind gusts. And this cell that's making its way through McCreary County, Kentucky right now, heads up Hilltop 116, getting an update there, Smithtown 117, Whitley City 120. And again, this one's showing moving east-northeast at 40, but we've seen this whole line at times moving a little faster than that. So you're not going to have a lot of time if a warning gets issued in your area. That's when you need to go ahead and make sure you're in your safe spot until this passes. So Scott County, this warning goes until 1:30. You don't want to wait. Oneida, it's right on the top of you right now, and then it's going to push east, head towards Campbell County. So Campbell County, be thinking about when you need, where you need to go in your safe spot as this whole line, again, continues to push to the east. And as we've been saying, this is kind of the first round that we're expecting across the area for today. This will move through. We'll probably get a little bit of a lull in the action, and then the overnight line that comes through well past midnight and before sunrise, that's going to be more widespread across the area. So as of now, we're talking about, especially along and north of the I-40 corridor, overnight, it's basically going to be everybody as this line of thunderstorms kind of makes its way through the area. So again, the kind of area we're watching right through here, this little line that's moving east. So it's right over Pine Knot and Oneida now. And as this continues to move east, that's the potential where we could see some isolated damaging wind gusts with this whole system as it comes through. So let me put a quick track, especially on this one that's in Scott County. It's moving very quickly, as we said, close to 60 miles per hour. So it's going to get very quickly up on you as these warnings come out. So right now we're talking about Mountain View, Scott High School, 116, West Robbins, 117, Robbins itself at 118, and Huntsville, that's going to be at 119. So you got less than 5 minutes before it's in the Clay Hill and Huntsville area as this pushes east. Again, the whole little system here is moving extremely fast. We've watched this move all the way across the state from the Tennessee-Kentucky border, north and west of Nashville, then east of Nashville, and now making its way here in our area across the region. So we need to go ahead and take these warnings seriously. We've had numerous reports of trees and power outages back towards Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky as this line's come through. And that's why we're going ahead and going on the air now to make sure that everybody's going to stay safe as these lines continue to push to the east. Now, one thing we can look at again is our shear product. You can see there's some shear, pretty decent shear showing up in portions of McCreary County, Kentucky, and then you see that bowing segment here into Scott County. So right along this line is where we think the potential for the strongest winds will be and the potential to actually see some damage if these winds come a little further down to the surface. But regardless, we think they're going to be the opportunity for some really strong winds. I'm going to put a couple more cities on here so we can get an idea of what's going on. And we're talking about Jellicoe Christian Academy. That's going to be about 131. That would be into Campbell County. We're going to go ahead and just warn ahead of this so we know Campbell County, it's going to be coming soon, this warning. Just going to tell you now, it's going to be coming for Campbell County. So Jellicoe Christian, it's going to be there about 15 minutes from now. Downtown Jellicoe, the elementary and the high school at 132, and Titus at about 133. Red Ash 133, and Lott at about 134. So I would say anywhere from Campbell County, northward up into southeast Kentucky along I-75. If you've got family members maybe that are traveling along this area, just please make sure they know what's going on so that they can stay safe as well. Meteorologist Matt Condon is here with me, so is meteorologist Margot Altschuler. We've got you covered here this afternoon. Matt, this system is going to go through pretty quickly, but this isn't really our only opportunity to see storms today.
Absolutely, Ken. This is round one. If you were watching Good Morning Tennessee with me this morning, we talked about the potential for 2 rounds. So this round, afternoon into the evening, our overnight round, that will be round 2. So the early morning hours tomorrow. So even after this initial line that's moving through right now clears out of the area, you still have to be paying attention to the weather. Remain weather aware, as we do have the potential for another round of strong to severe storms, and it is an overnight threat. So we want to make sure you have ways to receive the watches and warnings that can wake you up. For now, we'll focus on what's going on in the immediate. I'll take you back to southeast Kentucky. We have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Here's McCreary County. That's where the storm system is moving through right now. Heavy rainfall, pavement pounding rain, and that could lead to some localized flooding, especially as we get into tomorrow morning with repeated rounds of heavy rainfall. These will quickly add up to some impressive totals. So we also have the warning in place for Whitley County. Of course, that includes I-75. That will be in the direction of that area very, very soon. Knox County, Kentucky, also included in the warning here, and into Bell County, Kentucky. So notice Pineville, Middlesboro, Barberville, and Williamsburg as well. What's not included is the far eastern portions of Bell County, as well as Harland County. Now, well, of course, we're expecting this line to continue to travel off to the east very, very quickly. We're talking about these storms have been moving roughly 60 to 65 miles per hour. So that right there is why these are warned, because 60 miles per hour winds can do straight line wind damage. And that is one of our priority concerns as we go into the afternoon. But for now, let me send it back on over to meteorologist Margot Altschuler. She'll have an update on the tornado watch that is in effect currently.
Matt, yeah, right now we do have a tornado watch currently affecting the areas highlighted in blue, and this does last until 4 p.m. this evening. Now, we did get a little bit of an update from the Storm Prediction Center just a few moments ago that looks like they're going to extend this watch, especially further east as we grow closer to the 4 o'clock hour. Now, again, right now this is affecting the areas highlighted in blue. The areas highlighted in yellow looks like they just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning that extends now into more portions of Campbell County, going on into Union County as well. But again, we do have this tornado watch in place until 4 p.m. this afternoon. Now, again, what's the difference between a watch and a warning? This is important for you to note. Whenever we have a watch in place, it usually lasts for about several hours and it covers portions of states. Now, this again is hours in advance. This just makes sure you have a plan going forward. Now, a warning is issued about 20 minutes to an hour, and it's for portions of counties. Now, this is when you take cover, especially when we have even these severe thunderstorm warnings. You need to take cover because, like Matt mentioned, those straight line winds gusting up to 60 miles an hour definitely can throw debris around. So again, when those warnings are issued, we want you to get into your safe place, and your safe place is the centermost location of your home where there's no windows. Usually this is either a bathroom, preferably a basement, or even a closet under the stairs, just anywhere to get you away from those windows just in case debris does move through. Again, this is whenever a warning is issued, especially a tornado warning, but this does include those severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, we do have that tornado watch in place until 4 p.m. and it looks like they're probably going to extend that here in the next couple of minutes. Now, again, we are going to continue to be online to give you updates and continue to warn you about those storms making their way through our area. I'm going to send it back over to Chief Meteorologist Ken Weathers for more updates. Ken?
Yeah, Margaret, they just updated the warning. No real surprise here. They pushed it a little further east, so this is going to include Campbell and Claiborne County now until 2:15. So as we mentioned, this entire line, it's just racing to the east, 50, almost 60 miles per hour at times. So here's a heads up. Newcomb around a 132. Oswego 132 as well. Stinking Creek 133 and Pleasant View at 133. So it won't take long before it crosses I-75. So again, if you know somebody that's traveling, maybe you're expecting them in town, or you have somebody that's either leaving or coming into your area, just make sure they have a heads up as well that they can get to a safe spot, because the way these winds are coming, they're going to be moving perpendicular to I-75. So it wouldn't take much to cause some concerns for higher profile vehicles whether we're talking about 18-wheelers, an RV, maybe you're towing a boat or a trailer. It could be very hazardous with these winds that are going to be blowing pretty quickly across the area. So let me clear this out. Again, what we're talking about, I'm just looking at the winds. That's kind of all I'm focused with at this point is the winds. We mentioned this earlier. You can kind of see right through here, it kind of snakes through. And what we have to always watch for is the little indentations, the little kinks. That's where sometimes you can see quick little spin-ups for some isolated tornadoes. Can't be ruled out. So we may be talking about a severe thunderstorm warning and you may not be taking it seriously, but we want you to. Make sure you are, because at minimum, we're talking winds maybe gusting 60, 70 miles per hour or greater with these storms as they're going to be pushing through. So here's what we're looking at. Scott County, that's the airport, 126. Helenwood at 129, the high school at 130, West Oneida right around that time as well. And that's continuing to move rapidly to the east. This storm up into McCreary County, Kentucky, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. We're talking about Highland Park, 141, University of the Cumberlands, 141. We're talking about also was at Whitley County Central Intermediate and Elementary Schools. That's about 142. So if you know where you live in relation to the schools, that'll help you out. So let's quickly look. What I'm taking a look at in here is just, again, where we're seeing shear or rotation in the area. And this is more of a line. We've talked about this. It's more of a line. So wind damage certainly going to be our main player here, but sometimes you'll see quick little spin-ups along these lines as they push through the area. But as of now, still want you to take it seriously because the winds are extremely strong with this as it's moving through. Next, it's just about to cross over out of Scott County into Campbell County and also up into southeast Kentucky, Whitley County. This one goes until 145. Got a feeling they'll extend this because even these far eastern counties, it's not even reached your area yet. So areas a little further to the north, I know the warning's been out for Knox County, Kentucky, and Bell County. It's not here yet. So they will extend these warnings time-wise as they go further to the east. But here's your heads up now. Barberville, Pineville, Middlesboro, Jellicoe, you need to go ahead and start making sure you have a plan in place when this storm gets into your area because it's not going to take long. They're moving very quickly across the region. Let's look at the southeast Kentucky storm again. This is coming out of McCreary County, about to make its way into Whitley County. It's at Jellicoe Creek at 143, Highland Park 148, Williamsburg at 148 as well. Not even a big hail maker with these storms. That's not really been the thing. There was earlier back towards the west as this went through Pickett County, but for the most part, we're talking about just wind damage as this storm system makes its way across our area. That's really going to be the main thing in this first batch as it comes through. As this rolls through, we're most likely going to see a bit of a lull as we go a little bit late afternoon through evening, but overnight, we're still going to see that potential for another round of storms that will come through, and it's a more substantial line because it's going to move through overnight, but it's also going to encompass basically our entire viewing area. That's the more likely opportunity as that line's going to be coming through a little bit later into the overnight hours. So once this round goes through, you'll get a little bit of a lull, but I don't want you to think we're done with our severe threat because we will see another one the way it's looking overnight tonight. Matt, what else are you taking a look at over there?
Give you times of arrival on this storm system that's currently moving through portions of Scott County at this hour. So here you go, some estimated times of arrival. Helenwood also in Scott County by about 1:29 this afternoon. High Point by about 1:30. Also in the area of Scott High School by about 1:29. And then West Oneida by about 1:31. The storm system's moving very quickly. You can see here east-northeast at about 62 miles per hour. So it's just the motion of this storm system that is prompting these severe thunderstorm warnings because winds 58 miles per hour or greater, that's what can do some damage, knocking down trees, resulting in power outages as well. We're also keeping an eye on the winds, but tropical downpours, heavy rain falling right now, and of course, frequent lightning. So it's already a good idea to be inside because of the winds, then again for the rain, but also the potential for frequent lightning. Of course, big recreation area out here on the plateau. Hopefully folks are sheltered inside. Remember, your shelter should be a sturdy building, not a mobile home, not even a car, as these strong winds roll through the region. Something to keep in mind, especially if you're not seeing storms right now, but we have that potential once again as we go into the afternoon. So we will continue to keep a close eye on these storm systems as they move through, but let me give you a little bit more of a zoomed out look. If you're Knoxville, Loudon, Madisonville, it's quiet right now, but if you step outside, you'll probably notice the temperatures are increasing from this morning and it's just going to feel muggy, sticky, so uncomfortable to be outside, but that's the energy that the storms will be able to tap into. So right now, energy is being taken up by the storms right along the northern border of Tennessee and those in southeast Kentucky. But really that means areas to the south of these storms, there is still plenty of energy for storms to tap into as we go into the afternoon. The atmosphere has not been worked over at all. In fact, energy continues to increase as we go into the afternoon. We're not even at our peak heating time of the day later on this afternoon. So we're going to have to keep a close eye again on the storms that will roll in as we go into the later part of the evening and then into the overnight hours. Again, keep that in mind. You need a way to receive the warnings that can wake you up tomorrow morning. So the severe thunderstorm warning continues for Campbell County until about 2:15 and also for portions of Union County and Claiborne County. Likely the warning will continue to be extended eastward. So if you maybe don't live in Union County or Claiborne County, but maybe on the eastern sides of the county, or even in Sneedville and Hancock County, northern portions of Granger County from about Rutledge up into Hancock County and even in Hawkins County. So Rogersville as well, Church Hill, going to be keeping a close eye on the storm system, at least the one that's on the Tennessee side. Now we have the storm that's also in southeast Kentucky. That's where we have the warnings in place right now for Whitley County, Knox County, Kentucky, as well as about half of Bell County. This storm system will also impact eastern portions of Bell County as well as Harland County and eventually making its way to Lee County, Virginia. So this storm system tracks off to the east very quickly, again, moving roughly 60 to 65 miles per hour. And that's why it is warned for the potential for damaging straight line winds. And we're seeing heavy rainfall right now. Well, let me send it on over to meteorologist Margot Altschuler with a live look outside in Campbell County.
Yeah, in Campbell County from McLeod Mountain, Matt, we're looking at those storms rolling on through, and you can already see those winds starting to pick up, especially from McLeod Mountain. These plants over here kind of breezing away. Again, we are looking from McLeod Mountain and Campbell County, just south of the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Again, watching those storms moving on through. A look from our Crossville camera, very hefty clouds there. We aren't seeing much over in Cumberland County as of now, but we did see some stronger storms kind of in the northern portion a few moments ago. And a look from our Embassy Suites tower camera, cloud cover has started to fill on in, and we're going to continue to monitor that as well. And a look from Fairfield Glade, pretty much the same thing. Now look at our Storm Tracker 6 radar. Again, we do have those warnings along the Tennessee-Kentucky border, and those warnings are moving east, so just make sure, again, you're in your safe place, especially as these storms do impact several areas in East Tennessee. A look at our severe threat level going on into the rest of today. Now, right now, what we're dealing with is round 1 of 2. The second round actually is not expected to arrive until overnight tonight. So around 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. for portions of the plateau and portions of southeast Kentucky, that's when that second line arrives and continues to push on through as we head later on into our Monday morning, really going on into Monday mid-morning. Now again, we have seen an update for our severe threat level. The Storm Prediction Center placing the majority of our area under that 3 out of 5 risk, while the rest of us under that 2 out of 5 risk for overnight tonight going into Monday morning. Just kind of taking a look at our timeline forecast, when can we expect to see impacts? Again, we are right now dealing with those storms kind of in the Tennessee-Kentucky border right now, causing a few warnings, and we'll continue to see those storms pushing on through, even having a chance until up until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Now we do get a bit of a break just after 6, but that's just before that second round comes. Now remember, we said 1 to 3 a.m. is when the plateau will be affected, and that line will continue to drop on through. This line, again, expected to have straight line winds, heavy rain, lightning associated with it. So it is very, you need to make sure you have your weather notifications turned on, especially now for this line moving through and for this second round that's moving through overnight. Again, we're going to watch everything as it moves on into our area, but we are expecting to have a very noisy morning tomorrow morning. And again, we are going to continue to monitor everything as we move on into the rest of this afternoon. Looks like Ken Weathers has an update for us. Ken?
Yeah, Margo, knocking on the doorstep of I-75 now in Campbell County. This line we've been talking about just moving through that area right now. So you can easily expect 50 plus mile per hour winds. But again, as I mentioned, it's moving perpendicular to I-75. So whether you're going north or south, Wouldn't take much to push your car into another lane. If you're a high-profile vehicle, I know a lot of people probably have RVs or boats for the holiday that they're working with, or maybe even 18-wheelers. That's what we're worried about as this is making its way along I-75. Same thing north of Jellicoe as you're going up into Kentucky. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning for Whitley County as well that goes until 1:45. I would say McCreary County, you're basically done with the worst of the weather. The strongest winds have pushed to your east. Same thing with Scott and Fentress for now. That's why the warnings have been dropped there, but the warnings still exist for Campbell County. This one goes to 1:45. I know they're going to extend this one probably a little further east for Knox and also into Bell County, Kentucky. They'll push that east, probably include Harlan as well, but we'll see once they issue that here in the short term. But the one we're watching crossing I-75 in Kentucky right now near Whitley County Central Intermediate, that's at 1:43. University of Cumberland's 1:44. Pretty close to Williamsburg as we speak right now as well. In fact, that's going to be at 1:44, and Whitley County Central Elementary and also the county high school there at 1:44. So I know school's out, obviously, but you know where the school is in relation to where you live. Also, right along Interstate 75, so Campbell County all the way northward, that's going to be a slow go. I would imagine the TDOT SmartWay cameras or at least the feed showing very slow traffic as these storms are going to be rapidly moving through. I'm still seeing these little things that we're watching along. It's not just a straight backwards letter C that we see oftentimes where you get the strong winds, but it's the little indentations or the kinks that you have to watch that sometimes you can get that quick little spin up of a tornado. And I've kind of been watching this north of the Jellicoe area there into Whitley County, right along I-75. That thing has been pretty present over the past 5 or 6 scans or so. Strong winds as well on the north end of this, but we're not seeing a definite indication that there is any type of a circulation other than just the really strong winds. But that in itself is going to be causing issues. So again, we'll track this one that's near Williamsburg crossing I-75. That's going to be Highland Park at 1:43, Whitley County Central Elementary and the high school. That's at 1:43 as well. Showing it moving east at 40. I think it's probably moving a little quicker than that. It's just finding the worst part of that storm. That's why it's picking up on that. The one to the south now, this is rapidly crossing I-75 as well. And what we're looking at is, tell you what, I'm going to put a track just right here. This is the area I really want to watch near Jellicoe. So let's just focus here. This is moving east at about 55, let's put it. Going to be Oswego right about now, Jellicoe Christian Academy and the downtown area about now. Elementary and high school 2 minutes from now, and the lot area at 1:37. Again, this is right where that little indentation was showing up, that there may be at least some broad rotation or something right along that line where really strong winds are moving through. So that's something we'll keep a very close eye on, as we have been really for the past several hours. But here's the wind again, right through here. It's crossing I-75 into Kentucky and also into Campbell County. So we're talking about Whitley County, Kentucky, down into Campbell County, Tennessee. That's where really the strongest winds are as this whole line continues to move east, and almost positive they'll continue to push these warnings off to the east as well. So as of now, the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 1:45, just 12 minutes from now, but it hasn't even made its way earlier where the warnings were issued for Knox County and Bell County. So they will most likely extend that warning as well. So if you're in Middlesboro, you're in Barberville, make sure you're in your safe area because this is going to come barreling through. I don't know how many power outages we've seen across the area. Meteorologist Margot Altschuler's been watching that. Margot, have you seen a whole lot come out so far, or what are we looking at?
Not looking at much, Ken, but it does look like there's less than about 1,000 customers in Fentress County and McCreary County out of power at the moment. Haven't gotten any confirmed reports on this, but this is a look at our outage map right now. It's just these 2 counties in our area that are experiencing some outages, but very far west of us in Middle Tennessee, they're seeing a lot of outages there. So won't be surprised if later on with these storms rolling on through, if we see those outages. But a look from McLeod Mountain and Campbell County as that storm is passing through that area. You can see the dark clouds behind me. I think I saw some lightning just a few moments ago just behind me from this storm system. Again, we're seeing a lot of lightning with these storms, so it's a good idea to be indoors, especially with this system system moving on through. A look from our crossfield camera, very, very dark out there, very overcast, ominous looking. Same with Embassy Suites and Fairfield Glade. Now look again at our watches and warnings. Right now we have 2 warned storms in our area. This is near the Tennessee and Kentucky border. Again, Ken and Matt covering that. But we do have a tornado watch in place for the areas highlighted in blue until about 4 p.m. this afternoon. Now we do expect to see this this watch extended as we head further into the afternoon, really going on into the evening for the rest of East Tennessee. So for the further eastern counties, this includes the areas near Morristown, Dandridge, Gatlinburg, and so on. So we're going to continue to keep you updated. But again, remember the difference between a watch and a warning is that timing. Watches last for several hours, while warnings last for about 20 minutes to an hour. Coverage areas for watches usually include portions of states, while coverage areas for warnings include portions of counties. Advance notice is given for watches, about an hour notice, and usually warnings are issued within minutes. Watches are when you need to make a plan right then and there. Warnings are when you need to take cover. And again, safe place, centermost location of your home. Looks like Matt has an update for us on those winds. Matt, this is why it's so important to get in our safe place, right?
Absolutely. With these severe thunderstorm warnings rolling through, we're talking about the straight line winds that can certainly do damage. But like Ken was talking about, keeping a very close eye on the Jellicoe area in Campbell County. Now, a couple scans ago, it did show up as some strong rotation, but we're looking about 3,000, 3,500 feet well up into the clouds. We're using the radar from Morristown, so we'll give you a reference point there. So maybe there's rotation aloft. At this point, there's not an active tornado warning in effect for Campbell County, just the active severe thunderstorm warning. But a new scan just came in, so there is at least some weak rotation with this storm system, likely helping to make those winds reaching the potential of 60 miles per hour, helping to make them reach the ground. We're going to keep a close eye on it, as there is at least weak rotation with this storm system, and of course it could quickly strengthen up. That's the environment we have today. There's a lot of energy for storms to tap into, and like we talked about, as we go through the afternoon, storms can quickly become strong to even severe. Now we have the severe thunderstorm warning in place mainly for the straight line winds, but of course we're keeping a close eye on just how much energy there is and how much energy the storms can take advantage of. So this one continues to track off towards the east. Now again, main concern is going to be the straight line winds, and we can see, like Ken was talking about, little kinks in this line. That's where you're going to have the potential for a quick spin up tornado. So we're watching it closely. But north of Jellicoe into Whitley County, keeping a close eye on that one, but especially from Jellicoe down to about Broyles. So you can see this line here, that is I-75. So maybe if you know someone driving north up towards about London, Kentucky, or maybe even driving south down towards Knoxville, keeping a close eye on the storm system, because gusty winds right over the interstate right now in Jellicoe. So hopefully a lot of people, I know there's a nice pull off in the Jellicoe area, maybe folks have pulled off there. That wouldn't be a bad idea, because in addition to the gusty winds, of course, you can see the heavy rainfall that is approaching I-75 and right over it, especially as you get south of the Jellicoe area. So even already a difficult drive because of the heavy rainfall, limiting your visibility, but also that potential for very strong straight line winds that can knock down trees and result in power outages. And that's one of the things Margot is keeping a very close eye on as we go throughout this afternoon. So this storm system continues to track off to the east and headed in the direction of Claiborne County, but we're also watching the storm system moving through portions of southeast Kentucky, headed in the direction of Knox County, Kentucky, as well as Bell County. So if you're in Middlesboro, notice headed in that direction, the severe thunderstorm warning continues to be in effect for Bell County, Kentucky as well, until about 1:45. So about the next 5 minutes, and then we're likely, I would suspect that we'll see that storm system expand a little bit further. I do want to switch over radars for just a minute here over towards the Jackson, Kentucky area, because we're starting to notice maybe some stronger rotation, but actually as we get a better look on the radar, watching this storm system closely, northern Whitley County approaching the Corbin area, reds and the greens coming together, that just catches our attention that maybe there is some rotation. And like we were seeing, at least weak rotation. So again, something we will continue to monitor, but the severe thunderstorm warning continues to remain in effect for Whitley County until about 1:45, Knox County, Kentucky, including Barberville, until about 1:45 as well, and then portions of Bell County, so including Pineville and Middlesboro. So we will likely see this warning extended. You can see even north of our viewing area, severe thunderstorm warnings continue for central Kentucky as well. And this storm system quickly continues to track off towards the east, like we talked about. roughly about 60 to potentially 65 miles per hour. So we have one area of a storm track that's showing up as a strong area of the storm. Estimated times of arrival, but I give yourself even more time than this because the model's picking up roughly about 45 mile per hour movement, but we know it's closer to about 60. So we're headed in the direction of Woodbine, Lilly, and Moore Hill, and as well as Corbin. And that's where we're watching at least an area of weak rotation showing up on the radar in the area of Corbin, Kentucky, and Whitley County, approaching I-75 as well. So we're watching rotation, the potential for rotation from Whitley County in Kentucky along I-75, but also watching it close to Jellicoe as well. Keeping a very close eye on this area right here as the reds and greens come together, seeing that indication for potentially strong rotation. One scan we'll have to keep watching as the radar continues to spin and give us a better look at this storm system. But we're going to have to keep a very close eye on this area of in northern Whitley County, approaching I-75, right in the area of Corbin. Let me send it on over to Ken if I can. Ken, are you seeing something very similar to this? Definitely want to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, just got an update as well from Weather Service out of Morristown, some tree damage, not a surprise. This is going to be in Scott County near Oneida, just northwest of downtown Oneida. So it would have been that line of storms that's pushed now into Campbell County, moving east. And this one we're certainly going to keep an eye on. It's right on the border between East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky. We've been talking about that little indentation area. That probably looks to be the worst part of that storm. It's going to be pretty close to the Boston Elementary area at 145, Packard 147, Gatliff at 149, and the Egan community at 153. Keep looking over here because it looks like that's back towards Middle Tennessee. There's some additional storms back to the west as well that we'll keep an eye on, but the immediate threat is this whole line that's moving to the east. And as Matt mentioned, they're moving quickly at about 55 to almost 60 miles per hour. So Campbell County, eastern side especially, if you're east of La Follette, that storm is kind of heading in your direction as we speak, so please make sure you're in your safe area. We're talking about Wynn Elementary, Peabody, there's Valley View Elementary, the Victory community, Clarefield. Now we're into Claiborne County. There's Clarefield Elementary, Powell Valley, and Russell Mill. Frakes community up into Southeast Kentucky. This is what's heading in your direction very quickly. And again, these warnings go until 2:30. Looks like they just extended that one, so that was smart. I think it expired at 1:45, so they've extended that warning a little further to the east now into Southeast Kentucky. Now, we talked about we have a camera that's up in McLeod Mountain in Campbell County, and this is what it looks like as that storm's approaching. We're looking kind of towards the southwest. If we go back a little further towards west, we kind of see the edge of the building there, the restaurant and the resort that's up there at McLeod Mountain, but you can kind of get a view. Low-lying clouds, and every once in a while we've seen a few flashes of lightning with this as it's moving through. So we'll keep an eye on that storm as it's getting a little closer there to McLeod Mountain there into Campbell County. Let's go back real quick. I want to talk about the main storm line we're watching. It's like just east of I-75 right now. Into Campbell County and also up into Whitley County into Kentucky. And along this line is where we really have to watch. So there's Rockholds 144, Arkell at 159, Providence 201, and Swamp Pond at 201 as well. A little further to the south, this area we're watching Red Ash at 146, Pleasant View Elementary 147, Dixie 152, Gatliff 153. So all this is going to rapidly be moving towards the east. So if you live in Middlesboro, Pineville, Barberville, Jellicoe, it's on top of you now, but heads up La Follette, it's just minutes away from moving into your direction, seconds, in fact, from moving away because this is moving so quickly off towards the east. We'll see if they extend these warnings a little further. It officially goes until 2:15, but I would say the rest of Claiborne County, Tazewell, New Tazewell, so the TNT area, heads up. It'll be heading your way soon. Also into Lee County, Virginia, Harland County. I would keep an eye on this as well. Just think about where you need to go. Those warnings will probably be coming out here pretty soon.
Tornado warning coming for Knox County, Kentucky. Okay. Lee County, Kentucky.
Okay, well, we'll focus on that. So it's exactly what we were talking about right there. We often see these little spin-ups that happen along the line of this storms, and this is one of those perfect examples. So we'll take a look up into Southeast Kentucky, and it would be right there. So it's near the Corbin area. So heads up, Corbin. Tornado warning for your area. This goes to Knox County till 2:15. I tell you what, Chris, if we can go ahead and go on air as well as online. Well, I'll just keep talking, and you let me know when we actually come up. But we do have a tornado warning. It's right along I-75 as we speak. So it's right over I-75 into Corbin County, Kentucky. It's into Corbin City. and it's right on the northern edge here of Knox County, Kentucky, as this storm is going to be moving east very quickly at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So you see the rotation, it's already, at least that scan looks a lot different than what it just did, but this is what we're talking about. They can quickly spin up. We see these quick little spin-ups that happen along these lines, and that was one of these situations right there. We talked about this. It kind of looks like the little indentation. That's where you have to watch. So that was the one that crossed north up out of the Tennessee-Kentucky border. What do you got, Margot? Go ahead.
Just a quick update. Also, they have a tour tag included with that born storm that's moving in our northern Tennessee counties. Just wanted to give that update as well to watch that.
Okay. Again, we got this tornado warning. This is going to be for Knox County, Kentucky. Okay. All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Meteorologist Ken Weathers here. We're online and on air as well now. We have a tornado warning that was just issued for our southeast Kentucky counties, and this is going to be until 2:15. That's Knox County, Kentucky. It's right along Interstate 75 between London and Barberville. So our policy, we stay on the air as long as there's a tornado warning anywhere within our viewing area, but we're also keeping an eye on the severe thunderstorm warning as this is making its way through Campbell County, heading into Claiborne County as well, because what we've seen, this line, as it's been moving, you get little indentations or notches on these, and that can spin up these brief tornadoes like what we're seeing right now here into southeast Kentucky. So let me zoom in a little bit closer. Right now between London and Barberville, it's right along Interstate 75 where the worst part of this storm would be. And they're moving quickly. They're moving between 50 and 60 miles per hour. So right now the area we're watching, it's near Lynn Camp Elementary at 150, Cane Creek 157, the Gibbs community, that's in Kentucky. Not in North Knox County, but Gibbs County in Kentucky, or Gibbs community in Kentucky, that goes into 157, and then Crane Nest at 158. So right through here would be the worst part of that storm. Update for you, there's McHarg at about 155, Fletcher 158, and Brock at 159, Tuttle at the top of the hour. So what we talked about, again, you see this often, you get these little notches, these little indentations along the line. So the entire line's producing damaging winds, at least the potential 50, 60 mile per hour winds, but sometimes you get the little spin ups right along that line, and that's exactly what we're seeing right here, and that's what prompted the tornado warning for Knox County, Kentucky that goes until 2:15, but it would be right there. We're talking about Hopewell, 150, Boring around 156, and this is going to be also Brock at 2 o'clock. So it's moving very quickly. Northern half of Knox County, Kentucky. So I'm going to continue to focus on this. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Matt Condon. He's going to look a little bit further south over this line that's into East Tennessee that we need to keep an eye on as well, Matt.
Absolutely, Ken. Keeping a close eye in southeast Kentucky, but let me zoom back out so you can get a better picture as to what's going on back here in Tennessee. So let me also switch this back over to, we get the clearer picture from the radar in Morristown. So we're seeing heavy rainfall, especially along the counties that are bordering Kentucky. Heavy rainfall from La Follette to Jellicoe, right over Campbell County right now. But we're also keeping a close eye on this storm system because there are straight line winds that it could cause some damage. We've already received numerous reports of damage across the northern portion of Scott County. So Scott County's back here, including Huntsville, Helenwood, and Oneida. But we also keep a close eye on, like we're seeing with that situation in southeast Kentucky right now, the potential for a quick spin-up tornado along this line. Now, when we see the reds and the greens coming together, watching little kinks like this right in this area in Campbell County, keeping close eye on the potential for some rotation. So we're seeing at least weak rotation, but where you start to notice the maroon shading coming back, that's where you notice stronger rotation showing up. So this storm system tracking in the direction of Claiborne County, severe thunderstorm warning in effect. To be clear, no tornado warning in effect for East Tennessee. The tornado warning is in for our southeast Kentucky counties. But we want to treat this storm just as seriously because of the risk for damaging winds, gusting upwards of 60 miles per hour, and the opportunity for a brief spin-up tornado right along that line. So watching areas of rotation from La Follette and up into northern portions of Jellicoe. So likely right in the area of Highway 63 as well, that runs right through the county, headed in the direction of Claiborne County as well. So keeping a close eye to see the reds and the greens coming together. We're watching little kinks in this line. That's where you're going to see that potential for a brief tornado, and that's why we're dealing with the tornado warning that's in effect just to the north of the Tennessee line in parts of southeast Kentucky, including Whitley County and Knox County. So Ken's keeping a close eye on that one. I'm keeping a close eye on this storm system that's moving through East Tennessee right now, Campbell County, stretching into portions of Claiborne County, and that, just a heads up, straight line winds can do damage like we talked about. Damage has already been done in northern portions of Scott County. Trees are down, and there has resulted in power outages. So we want to take this storm seriously, especially if you haven't gotten any rain or seen any storms today. Straight line winds, again, moving from the Campbell County line right into Claiborne County in the direction of Harrogate. So La Follette up to Harrogate, that route right there, I believe 63 is right here. You can take that route from La Follette right up to Harrogate. That's where we're going to keep a close eye, especially north of that route, for the potential for really strong winds gusting upwards of about 60 miles per hour. And that's why we have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect. But of course, keeping a very close eye on that situation in southeast Kentucky right now. Ken, let me send it back on over to you.
Yeah, Matt, it's right on the Laurel County, Knox County, Kentucky border. Just east of Corbin is where we're still seeing some of that rotation across the region. So tornado warning continues. This is Knox County, Kentucky. Again, we stay on the air as long as there's a tornado warning in our viewing area. That is in our viewing area in southeast Kentucky. Barberville heads up. Corbin, it's right over the top of you right now, and putting a track basically on this. It's been moving very quickly. East, northeast at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So it's going to be very close to the Gibbs. That's not in North Knox County, Tennessee. That's the Gibbs community in Knox County, Kentucky. That's going to be right about 155. Sproul around 158. Woolham right around 159. In the top of the hour, we're talking about Hammond at 204 as this continues to move east. And again, this is the extreme northern section of Knox County, Kentucky that we're watching, but this is that same line. We have a tornado warning now a little further to the south. We do. Yep. Let's talk about this one. Now, we also have one, as you can see, along this line. That's going to be for Whitley County, right on the border with Bell County, Kentucky. So 2 tornado warnings now in southeast Kentucky. We'll keep an eye on the northern one, but let's put a track on this one that's in Whitley County, moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour as well. So Frakes, the community there, 2 o'clock. Make sure you know where your safe spot is. I want you to be in your safe place as we speak. Rain Community 202, Chenoa around 205, and Garmedia right around 206. This is moving east at about 50 miles per hour, and this is right on the border, again, between East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky. This is Campbell County, and this is the Claiborne County. Quickly, I want to look. Can we see anything from our camera? So this is McLeod Mountain. So this is in Campbell County, right central sections of Campbell County. The storm would be just back to the north and east of where this, or north and west rather, of where that camera is. So this is southeast Kentucky. Our camera is located right about here, just north of La Follette. So we can't see back to the north where this storm is because of the building, the restaurant. But 2 active warnings now, still ongoing. This is going to be for Knox County, the northern half of Knox County, Kentucky, and pretty much the entire Bell County, Kentucky area, but extreme eastern sections of Whitley County. So this is Whitley into Bell County, Kentucky. That goes until 2:15. And you see right here, let's just take a look. I want to switch over, and we can just see that sheer product. Kind of hard to see. Let me switch over to there it is, Morristown. So you can kind of see it right through here. So right there, that indentation, we talked about this, where that little inflow area comes, that's the one, and then the one to the north as well. So that's what we were talking about. Even though it's a kind of backwards letter C where the entire thing is moving through, we also see those little indentations often on the corner of these lines that can produce the quick little spin-up tornadoes. So just because it's severe thunderstorm warning in some spots, I don't want you to not take this seriously. It could easily produce damage, 60, 70 mile per hour winds. We've seen it with this line as it's come through Middle Tennessee, and right now it's straddling the border between Tennessee and Kentucky, and that's what this line is right here between Jellicoe and Middlesboro. So this is Tennessee to the south, Kentucky to the north. So it's right on the line there, this cell, as it's moving very quickly now. These are moving at about 60 miles per hour, these cells. Matt, what else are you seeing over there, especially areas to the south and to East Tennessee? Looks like maybe Claiborne County still has the warning, but it's just for the western side of that county.
Exactly right, Ken. And I would not be surprised if eventually that warning does get expanded further to the east, because this line has been tracking through Tennessee, through Arkansas, through Missouri, all the way back from the plains. It has been a long track system, but remember, this is round one. We have another round that is expected to move through during the early morning hours of Monday. Also seeing that potential for strong to severe storms. So we are keeping a very close eye. We're really at the beginning of this long duration event. At this point, we have 2 active tornado warnings in southeast Kentucky and several severe thunderstorm warnings. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here in East Tennessee as well as in southeast Kentucky. So keeping a very close eye on the active tornado warnings from Knox County in Kentucky, to be clear, and also in Bell County. So if you live in Middlesboro, you should be taking your tornado precautions. Remember, that's the most interior room of your home, getting to the lowest level. It's usually going to be a bathroom or a closet. Put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. Good idea to grab a pillow, a bike helmet, football helmet, just to protect your head and neck, treating this storm like it is producing a tornado. This system likely could produce a brief tornado right where we're seeing the reds and the greens coming together, and that's the area of most concern right now, right on the county line actually, Whitley County and heading into Bell County. So Frax Elementary, if you live near here, you definitely want to be taking tornado precautions. You should already be there at this point. This storm system will continue to track in the direction of Middlesboro. So if you live in Middlesboro, you absolutely need to be taking tornado precautions at this point. Currently 1:56 in the afternoon on the Sunday. It is Memorial Day weekend. If you know someone who's in the Middlesboro area, maybe who lives there obviously, but may be vacationing there or even traveling through there this time of the day, tell them that they are going to need to take tornado precautions. A vehicle is not sufficient for safety. You need to be inside a well-built, sturdy structure. Pull off into a gas station, department store. You want to be seeking shelter, as straight line winds also concern. But where we notice the reds and the greens coming together, that's where we start to have the concern that a brief tornado or a tornado could be on the ground. We can also look at our shear, and like we talked about just a few minutes ago, we're starting to notice the maroon showing up, indications that there is strong rotation with the storm system and could be producing a tornado reaching the ground now in portions of Bell County, Kentucky. Now we're keeping a close eye on Bell County as well, but also watching this storm system south of the state line of Kentucky. This severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Campbell County and Claiborne County. It doesn't have a tornado warning with it, but it has that TOR possible tag. And notice there's strong rotation showing up bordering the state line right here. So honestly, if you live in northern portions of Claiborne County, I'd be taking this storm system very seriously. In the area of Bryson Mountain, I don't think it's a bad idea to be taking tornado precautions either. It's getting into your most interior room, seeking shelter, as we're seeing evidence of potentially strong rotation showing up. Active tornado warning in effect for Bell County, Kentucky, but active severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Claiborne County with that TOR possible tag. A tornado is possible. That is included in that severe thunderstorm warning. So keeping a very close eye on this storm system where we're seeing high shear and the reds and greens coming together right near the eastern portion of Bell County. So Frax Elementary, you live in this area, you need to be taking tornado precautions as well, and you already should be taking them. If you live in Middlesboro, there's a little bit of time, not much, but you need to take the tornado precautions, and you need to take them right now. It is imperative that you do so. If you live in Harrogate in East Tennessee, the severe thunderstorm warning goes right to the city, keeping a close eye on the exact path of this storm system as well. Tornado warning includes Bell County High School, but it's really where those reds and greens are coming together. That's the area of immediate concern right now. And if you live in Harland County, if you live in Lee County, Virginia, you also want to be keeping a close eye on this storm system as well, as they are racing off to the east, roughly 60 miles per hour. So we're also keeping a close eye on that storm system further to the north in southeast Kentucky, moving through portions of Knox County, Kentucky as well, in the Barberville area. Heavy rainfall right now, and the potential's there for a quick spin-up tornado again, where we're seeing the reds and greens coming together near Crane Nest. So eventually this storm system likely going to move out of our viewing area and into Clay County, but eventually making its way east. Here's Harland County, so we want to keep a close eye on that storm system. We cover Harland County as well. Ken, let's send it on over to you.
Yeah, I want you to keep an eye on that one right on the border between Claiborne County there in southeast Kentucky near Frakes Elementary for me. But I do want to report, we had a 911 report earlier when this cell went through Laurel County, and now the one that's in northern Knox County in Kentucky of a possible tornado. So that was a 911 report of a possible tornado when it was back into Laurel County. So again, you can see just the motion of this over the past 15 minutes, how quickly this has been moving to the east. And as Matt mentioned, the worst part of this storm right now is right here between Blackwater and Crane Nest, and it's moving to the northeast, kind of east-northeast, but it's moving quickly. We're talking still in that 50-plus mile-per-hour range. So on this current track, this area where we're watching between Blackwater and Crane Nest, it'll move east. We'll see if it goes a little further south of east. Sometimes what these tend to do when they get kind of away from themselves, they can take a little bit more of a more easterly turn. But since this is along an entire line, usually that doesn't happen. But we'll continue to watch this a little bit longer. It's in the extreme northern sections of Knox County, Kentucky, which is on the fringe of our viewing area. But it's near Goose Rock at around 209, Bright Shade 210. Asher's Fort 214 and Peabody around 217. So it would be right through here between Blackwater and Crane Nest where the worst part of that storm would be. And Matt, I'm having him watch the one to the south that's basically right on the border between East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky. But I also wanted to talk to meteorologist Margot Altschuler because what's important as well is they've kind of extended this threat or potential threat for severe storms a little further to the east, Margot.
Yeah, they have, Ken, and that's why not only are our areas here in East Tennessee and in Southeast Kentucky need to be aware of what's going on, but we have seen we have seen a severe thunderstorm watch being placed for our counties east of that tornado watch. So this orange area right here, this is that watch for severe thunderstorms. It's lasting until 9 p.m. And again, this is going just off of our tornado watch. Now, again, it's very important that even if you're not in these warnings right now, you are paying attention to the forecast just because we are expecting another round to move on through. So again, right now we have a tornado watch that lasts until 4 o'clock. It's for the areas highlighted in blue. The areas highlighted in orange are under a severe thunderstorm watch, and this lasts until 9 p.m. Eastern time. We have 2 tornado warned storms. Those are in our Southeast Kentucky counties, and then we have 2 very big severe warned storms, and portions of East Tennessee and portions of our Southeast Kentucky counties are being affected right now. Again, it's very important that you pay attention to what's going on around you right now. Even again, if you are far away from these warnings, because we are expecting to see strong to severe storms moving into the rest of East Tennessee later on this afternoon and later on this evening. A look from McLeod Mountain in Campbell County, we saw that storm move on through, still seeing heavy rain in that area, and you can see just how fast those clouds are moving. Again, even if you don't have that tornado warning in your area, these severe thunderstorms are traveling quickly, and they do have the potential to see gusts up to now 70 miles an hour. So again, very important that you pay attention to what's going on around you. And again, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. and we have that that tornado watch until 4 p.m. and those 2 tornado warnings. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Matt Condon, who looks like he has a few updates for us on that radar. Matt.
Well, Margot, that severe thunderstorm warning now has been extended a bit further east. We're talking about areas here in East Tennessee. So that includes all of Claiborne County until 2:45 and includes portions of Hancock County as well. So right up to about the limits of Sneedville. But also notice it includes Lee County, Virginia. We also cover Lee County, Virginia. So Lee County, Virginia, parts of Claiborne County, and now parts of Hancock County under a severe thunderstorm warning. And this storm system traveling very quickly, like Margot mentioned, has the capability of producing winds upwards of about 60 to 70 miles per hour, which certainly could do damage. But our main concern, especially, is in Southeast Kentucky, in this area where the reds and the greens are coming together, in Bell County, because there are evidence that there is some rotation and it is headed right in the direction of Middlesboro. If you live in Middlesboro, Kentucky, we're talking about Bell County, Kentucky, you need to be taking tornado precautions. This storm system is rapidly approaching your area, and we want to treat it like it is on the ground. We have no confirmation at this point, but we're looking at the radar and we're seeing evidence that this storm system is capable of producing a tornado, and it is headed right in the direction of Middlesboro. Again, if you live in Middlesboro, Kentucky, you need to be in your tornado safe place, a bathroom or a closet at the lowest level of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. We really want to take this seriously, as an active tornado warning is in effect for roughly about the next 10 minutes for Bell County, Kentucky. And the evidence of rotation that this tornado warning is indicating is right in the direction of Middlesboro. So you need to do it right now. You need to take your tornado precautions. We will continue to watch this line also as it travels through East Tennessee, currently moving through Claiborne County, and that's why the severe thunderstorm warning was extended until 2:45 in the afternoon. But that also continues a bit further east, like we mentioned, over towards Hancock County as well. So watching that area, because notice there's evidence of strong rotation as well. At this point, they did have a tornado possible tag on the first warning. Did they have the tornado possible tag on the warning that they just issued?
They did not.
But we still want to take this storm seriously because 60 to 70 mile per hour winds can do damage. We already have damage reports. Northern portions of Scott County with repeated rounds of trees down and resulting in power outages. So let's take this storm very seriously.
Yes.
Tornado possible tag on it. So that makes sense because we're seeing strong evidence of rotation. So severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. Let's treat it like we need to be taking shelter. Again, like we're doing in Middlesboro right now. We're going to the lowest level, most interior room of your house. Put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning with strong evidence of rotation right now in portions of Claiborne County. We're east of Clarefield Elementary, but headed right in the direction of Powell Valley, Arthur, and also really north of New Tazewell. But still, New Tazewell is under the severe thunderstorm warning, but it's where we're seeing the maroon shading here along this line. That's the area of most concern right now. We have one piece that is in Bell County, Kentucky, headed right for Middlesboro, like we talked about, and that is why we have the tornado warning in effect for Bell County, Kentucky. Jackson, the National Weather Service in Jackson, Kentucky, takes care of our southeast Kentucky counties. National Weather Service in Morristown takes care of our East Tennessee counties, and they have that tornado possible tag with the severe thunderstorm warning. So let's take this one seriously because strong evidence of rotation, and it hasn't disappeared. There have been pieces shown up that there has been strong rotation with the storm system. So this is a strong storm, whether it is producing a tornado or not. We're talking about the potential for straight line winds as well. So keeping a very close eye on this storm system as it continues to track a little bit further to the east. Ken, if I can, let's send it on over to you.
Yeah, Matt, I've been watching the one cell as well up into Knox County, Kentucky. The warning still continues for just a few minutes longer till 2:15, but this is Kentucky, Knox County, Kentucky, but the circulation not quite as tight as what it was a few minutes ago, and it's almost out of Knox County, Kentucky, which will cross over out of our coverage area. But still, if you have any family or friends that live a little further to the north up into Clay County, there is a severe thunderstorm warning there as this pushes to the north. But not seeing quite the rotation we were earlier with this cell as it was making its way a little further to the west. There was one report from a 911 dispatch that there was a possible tornado with it when it was in Laurel County as it crossed over into northwest Knox County, Kentucky. At this point, the warning goes for a couple more minutes. Doesn't look quite as potent as what it did, so we want to focus on the areas to the south, especially the one that Matt was talking about right on the border here between East Tennessee and southeast Kentucky. So let's talk about that. We want to talk about the storms that are tornado warning, still, I would say, right close to the Middlesboro area, very close, where we're seeing this little rotation, that indention area right through here. So there's Binghamton, there's downtown Middlesboro. Make sure you're in your safe area. Colmar as well. This is going to move very quickly to the east. It goes until 2:15. So another 7 minutes from now, we'll see if they extend it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did go ahead and extend it, but it would be right through here. That would be where the tightest part of this rotation. Let's see, what have they done? They think that's up towards Harland County, Kentucky. It looks like just a severe thunderstorm warning here. But this would be the area of rotation we'd be watching right through here as it's moving to the east. This is southeast Kentucky. This is Claiborne County. Just to the south, there's Harrogate. So putting a track on this, Bell County high, 219. Waysoto around 221. Again, it's moving very quickly off to the east. You don't have a lot of time before this makes its way through. And the reason why we're taking these so seriously is we've had numerous reports of power outages across the area. Meteorologist Margot Altschuler's been checking in on that, and she's got an update on just how many power outages we've seen as this line has pushed through portions of East Tennessee and southeast Kentucky. Margot?
Can volunteer energy I can't pronounce that word, excuse me, but we do have reports of power outages in Fentress County, over about 1,500. So a lot of people out of power, and they were under that severe warned storm just moments ago. And we're starting to see more outages kind of as this line tracks east. Now seeing about 100 in McCreary County, McCreary County, Kentucky, and going into Scott County, Tennessee. So we're seeing outages as these storms continue to make their way east. Not even those areas that are seeing those tornado warnings are getting these outages, even those areas that are seeing those severe thunderstorm warnings. So again, like we're telling you, take shelter now, especially if you have a warning over your area. Again, seek shelter in the centermost location of your home. If you aren't under these warnings just yet, again, we are expecting to see these storms continue to trek east and more storms arriving later on today going into tonight. You need to make sure you're charging your devices. You have flashlights ready, just because we are expecting to see more storms moving over our area. Again, a look at that timeline map for that severe threat level. We're under that 3 out of 5, looking to see that second line arriving closer to midnight tonight. So overnight, when a lot of us are already in bed, and going until 5 a.m. So again, this is that second round, but those outages right now, seeing about 1,500 in the Fentress County area. Looks like we just got up to 1,000 in Scott County, Tennessee, and McCreary County, Kentucky. So again, we're gonna watch everything. I'm gonna send it back over to Matt or Ken, one of you.
I'll take it. Thanks a lot, Margaret. Appreciate it. Still watching this tornado warning. It would be very close to the Middlesboro area as we speak. It's extreme southeastern sections of Kentucky. It's Bell County that goes until 2:15, and it would be right through here. You can see that little indentation. So moving through either downtown or just on the north side of Middlesboro proper. So please make sure you're in your safe area. I'm going to put a track on this for you. As fast as this is moving, again, 50, 60 miles per hour, it doesn't take long. So we're talking about Cumberland Gap, 214, Middlesboro right now at 212, Hutch, 217, Forge Ridge at 220, Gibson Mill, 220 as well. This would make its way into West Virginia as well, into Lee County if it stays on this path. As of now, it's a severe thunderstorm warning for Lee County, Virginia, and also into Claiborne County with that possible tornado with this as it makes its way through. But that would be our circulation area right there, the downtown Middlesboro as we speak. So please make sure you're in your safe spot.
Tornado warning coming for Claiborne, Hancock, and Lee County, Virginia.
Okay, that makes sense. So they're going to basically warn right along this line as it's pushing to the east. So we'll see this new tornado warning about to come out, as he mentioned, and that's going to include Claiborne County, Hancock County, and that's also going to be into southeast Kentucky, Lee County. So it's northern. It's kind of skirting right along the border. So it's extreme northern sections of Claiborne and also into Hancock County. This is going to go until 2:45. It's because of this line. It's moving almost due east. So it's not for the New Tazewell area, but you're going to experience those gusty winds coming through. But it could spin up a quick tornado there. The immediate threat is right in the downtown Middlesboro area as we speak, but I would still be a heads up, the Tazewell, New Tazewell area of Claiborne County as that's pushing to the east, but the new extended tornado warning is going to clip northern Claiborne County and also extreme northern Hancock County. That goes until 2:45 and also into Lee County, Virginia. So let me just put a quick track on this as this whole area, again, it's kind of moving east-northeast. I'm going to put just a little bit further of an easterly track on it, so make sure we encompass everything here. And I'm going to actually make this track just a little bit wider so that we make sure that we get everybody included on this. So we're talking about Cumberland Gap, 216, Harrogate, 217. It could clip your area. Make sure you're in your safe spot there. Shawnee around 218, Nash Mill at 220, and Forge Ridge at 221. So you can kind of see right through there. It would be right over the downtown Middlesboro area as we speak. And yet still seeing that rotation, at least possible rotation right through there. That's what's prompted the warning again for the northern, very sliver there of Claiborne County that touches Lee County, Virginia, and also into Hawkins County, extreme northwestern Hawkins County. But just because you're under a severe thunderstorm warning further south in the Tazewell and New Tazewell area, I still want you to take this very seriously because wind damage in itself could be 50, 60 plus miles per hour. And as we've seen along this line, we get those quick little spin ups that have been happening really all day. And I think they're going to continue to happen as well as this continues to move to the east. So I'm going to actually just put this into motion for about the past 15 minutes. And you can see how quickly these line of storms are moving to the east. So you don't have much time once a warning is issued in your area, but it's probably just east now of the downtown Middlesboro area, continuing to slide to the east. And again, no confirmation that there was a tornado, but it certainly was showing that signature on radar. And again, if you're watching on air, we stay on the air as long as there's a severe thunder or tornado warning in our viewing area. And there is for northern Claiborne, West Virginia there in Lee County, and also into Hawkins County, Tennessee here, but also into southeast Kentucky for Bell County. That goes for just a few more minutes until 2:15, and then this will make its way east of that. But further to the south, again, we're still keeping an eye on that line of storms as it's making its way through portions of Claiborne County. I'm going to let Matt talk a little bit more about that down to the south. I don't want people to take this lightly, Matt, because we have seen these little spin-ups along the line really as we've gone all day today.
Absolutely. And as that line continues to track east, we're just going to have to watch it very closely. But of course, our attention right now is in northern portions of East Tennessee and in southeast Kentucky. That's where we have the storms, and that's where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings at this hour. But if you're watching, say, Crossville, Kingston, Loudoun, Knoxville, it is quiet right now. We're not seeing any storms. There are no active warnings, especially along and south of I-40. But the energy for these storms is increasing. If you're not seeing a storm right now, you're likely to see one because more storms are developing back across Middle Tennessee. And like Margot showed you, that timeline, we have another round expected in the early morning hours of Monday. So it's something we're keeping a very close eye on as we go throughout this afternoon, but honestly into tomorrow morning. So we're watching this storm system that is clipping northern portions of East Tennessee here. We're moving through portions of Campbell County over to Union County and also into Claiborne County. But I just wanted to give you the update that areas especially south of the northern portion of East Tennessee, quiet right now, but we do have that potential for strong to maybe even severe storms as we go later into this evening and into the overnight hours. If I can, Ken, let me send it back on over to you.
Okay, Matt. Yeah, just another update. They've kind of extended these warnings a little bit further to the east up into Kentucky as well. So now we have a tornado warning that's going to be for Bell and Harland County, Kentucky. This goes until 2:45, this tornado warning. And it's going to be because of this line that we were talking about that's making its way east of Middlesboro now, headed towards the Colmar community. Cubbage heads up. It's heading your way. Can't say that a tornado will, but at minimum, you're going to see some very strong winds that could cause some damage as it makes its way through. But this line earlier did at least show the possibility. And in fact, I looped this from the past 15 minutes. You can see right through there. Let's see if I can actually just back it up a couple of steps. And I want to show you what we were talking about. It would have been right about there as it was making its way through the Middlesboro area. This little indentation is where that possible tornado would have been. So they've gone ahead and extended this area a little further to the east. Makes perfect sense because as this line slides east, there's going to be still that potential that we could see a tornado, a quick spin up across the area. And usually what happens, they form very quickly. You may not see them. Don't be going out, of course, looking for them because you may not be able to see them anyway because there is a lot of rainfall with these storms as well. Look how heavy the rain itself is within these storms. So it may be very difficult to see if there were any type of a funnel descending from the cloud. You may not be able to see it. So that's why we say just please go ahead and make sure you're in your safe spot now. So Colmar, Cubbage, looks like headed your way. This tornado warning again until 2:45. Still seeing a little bit of rotation, at least a possibility right there between Colmar, heads up Gibson Mill. There's Lincoln Memorial University. You're right on the edge of that tornado warning. Areas to the south, Arthur, Combs, Bacchus, that's more talking about damaging wind gusts. But as we've seen, quick little spin-up tornado is certainly possible. So please just get in your safe area. Make sure you're kind of an interior room or closet away from windows. If you happen to get a tree that's knocked down, if you're in the center of your home, hopefully you'll be a little bit better protected than if you were closer to one of the edges. That's why we always say that. If you live in a mobile home, you need to make sure you get into a safer place. with these watches we've had in place, that's what we always say ahead of time. Make sure you have that plan. You can go to a safer spot in case these warnings are issued. You can stay with a neighbor or a friend, something like that. All right, again, the active tornado warnings we do have, this is for Lee County, Virginia till 2:45, but it also includes Bell County and Harland County, Kentucky until 2:45. I'm not seeing quite the tight rotation we were earlier with this, but again, this whole entire line, it doesn't take long. In between scans, you can see a quick little spin up and then it kind of goes away, a quick little spin up and then it goes away. And it's kind of hard to say right now if we're seeing either one of those things. I would say still right there on the border between Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, maybe starting to see it. But even areas to the south, as we mentioned, strong winds, if not some little rotations right there between Arthur and New Tazewell and the Bacchus area as that moves east. Matt, anything else you've seen, been talking with the Weather Service, that you're seeing with any of these storms as they go east?
Well, they are just moving so quickly, and that's why we have the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect, because just the motion of these storms rapidly traveling to the east, headed in the direction of the Tri-Cities. So I wanted to show you something. So this is the current radar image. We have the active severe thunderstorm warnings, active tornado warnings in effect, but I did want to show you what the radar looks like, at least estimates, as we go into the next hour or so. So notice the storm system still holding it together, moving through portions of Hancock County and starting to move into Hawkins County. So from Rogersville to Burgoynesville and up towards Church Hill, eventually headed in the direction of the Tri-Cities and outside of our area. But if you live in northern portions of Granger County, even Hamblin County and Greene County, you want to be watching the storm system that is currently moving right along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line as it continues to travel off to the east. Oh, this is where it's been staying. It has had an eastward track for hours at this point. It has traveled from far western Arkansas, Missouri, even into portions of Oklahoma. It has just held on this track, and now it is straddling the Tennessee-Kentucky state line. And we talked about this morning, the counties that bordered Kentucky and those in southeast Kentucky had the highest potential of seeing the storms, at least during round one. Remember, there's round two, especially during the overnight hours into early Memorial Day. Active tornado warning does continue for portions of Lee County, Virginia, again, right along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line, but also where Virginia comes back into place. So we're watching this storm system very closely as it continues to quickly travel off to the east. So if you're in Middlesboro, starting to see that storm system eventually clearing the region, but it's where the reds and the greens are coming together, starting to move into southwestern portions of Virginia. And that's why we're keeping a very close eye here in Lee County, Virginia, as an active tornado warning continues until 2:45. So it's these areas where we're starting to see the kinks and the reds and the greens coming together. That's where we can get that quick spin up tornado, and that is why we have these active tornado warning in effect. Again, until 2:45. Currently, it is 2:21. So if you live in Lee County, Virginia, now is the time. Hopefully, you've already done it. Be taking your tornado precautions. We are streaming on our app. Just search Knoxville Weather, Google Play, and Apple App Store. We're also streaming on Facebook. So take your phone with you, or if you don't have that ability, turn up the volume on the TV, and we'll describe exactly where this storm is as best we can. Keep in mind, though, you're not seeing a storm right now. If we do have any additional warnings, you want to make sure you have plenty of power for your tablets, your cell phones. Make sure things are charged. Of course, an active holiday weekend, just make sure you have plenty of power, especially as we go into the early morning hours tomorrow as another round of potentially strong to severe storms moves in. So we're watching this storm system closely. It's had weak to strong rotation. We haven't had any confirmation that a tornado has touched down anywhere in southeast Kentucky, but we want to treat it like it's on the ground, and that's what we do every single time a tornado warning is issued. Now we are watching also through portions of Claiborne County as heavy rain and the potential for very strong straight line winds set to move into the area. We're seeing, like Ken's talked about, evidence of a backward sea. This is straight line winds, so winds gusting out ahead of this storm system, and that's where we have seen plenty of trees knocked down, reports of that at least in northern portions of Scott County, and like Margot has showed you, the power outages, especially on the western side behind where the storm system has already moved through. So we're keeping a very close eye on strong straight line winds that can result in damage, moving through northern portions, moving through much of the Claiborne County, headed in the direction of Hancock County. And that's why we also have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 2:45. So if you are in Sneedville, maybe you're outside enjoying this Sunday, time to be finding a way to seek shelter inside and just let this storm system pass through. It won't be long. As we've been talking about, it's moving very quickly. So shelter inside, then you can get back to your outdoor plans that you have on the Sunday. Also watching very heavy rainfall stretching down into portions of Union County. So Union County, not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but heavy rainfall, especially north of Maynardville as you get closer towards the Claiborne County line. So keeping a close eye on this storm system with severe thunderstorm warnings in effect and that active tornado warning in effect, especially in southwestern Virginia, specifically in Lee County. But let me send it over to Margot Altschuler. The watches have been expanded.
Yeah, no, Matt, the watches have been expanded. Again, we still have that tornado watch lasting until 4 o'clock Eastern time. So we have about an hour and a half left with this watch, but most likely what we'll see happen is as these storms continue to trek east, we'll see that watch probably expanded. We'll keep an eye on everything, but one thing that has been expanded though is a severe thunderstorm watch. Now this watch is lasting until 9 p.m. and this is including our very far eastern counties here in Tennessee and even Lee County, Virginia. Now again, we have that one tornado warned storm, the rest seeing severe thunderstorm warnings, and we do have a tornado possible tag located on the one that going through Claiborne and Hancock. That just means this severe thunderstorm that is warned is possibly able to spin up a tornado. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that. Matt and Ken looking at both things, but again, this is a look at our watches and warnings as of right now. Now again, a difference between a watch and a warning. Watches are last for several hours. They're put out hours in advance, while a warning lasts about 20 minutes to an hour, and they're put out within minutes. So again, this is why it's very important to know where your watches and warnings are going on. Always have a plan, know your safe place, centermost location of your home, whether that be a closet, a bathroom, preferably a basement. A look at those power outages. These storms are knocking down power lines, knocking down trees, just doing a lot of damage right now. We're seeing about 1,500 customers out of power in Fentress County, about 1,000 customers out of power in Scott County, and most likely we'll see these numbers go up as we head further into the afternoon. Kind of a look towards McLeod Mountain, seeing very dreary, very ominous conditions out there. We're going to continue to watch all of our cameras, continue to watch everything going on in Kentucky right now, but again, we have that tornado warned storm and a severe thunderstorm warning that has that tornado tag possible on it. I'm going to send things over to Ken. Looks like he has some updates. Ken?
All right, thanks a lot, Margo. We were just getting some confirmation. They've talked to McCreary County Dispatch. A lot of trees down, no real surprise there, and I would imagine several power outages as well. Don't know if it's damage just from the winds, tornado, or combination of, but again, that's why we're staying on the air. I'm sure a lot of people have been asking, what about elsewhere across the region? Thankfully, not a whole lot going on right now. We're dry. Knoxville southward, most of this activity, as we said, going to be right along the Tennessee-Kentucky border. That's round number one. That's what we're seeing across the area now. And this is just very heavy rainfall that's back into Union County, but we still have that potential of really strong winds making their way through Claiborne County as we speak. So anywhere from east of Harrogate, I'd say heads up Tazewell, New Tazewell area, you're going to be seeing some of these strong winds soon. We still have what was showing at least some rotation back through portions of southeast Kentucky, right through here where that warning is. So let me put a track just right through here where that storm could be producing a tornado. That's where the warning is. It's now in southwest Virginia, but it's still skirting at least extreme northern part of Claiborne County. That's going to be near Kaler 231, Red Hill 233, Erie Mill 235, Thomas Walker High School 237, and Eds Mill at about 239 if it stays on that path. The majority of that is there into southwest Virginia, but also clipping northern sections anyway of Hancock County. So the tornado warning for Hancock and Claiborne, very small sliver. In fact, if you look, the line, that's Virginia to the north, and that's Tennessee to the south. So it barely clips those two areas, but this line headed towards New Tazewell, Tazewell area, TNT, Gibson Hall, winds minimum could be 50, 60 miles per hour. So we need to make sure you're in your safe spot there. Compared to what it looked like earlier, not seeing the stronger rotation, but still that little indentations are worth watching. But again, this is areas basically well north of Knoxville. There are some additional storms back into Middle Tennessee we'll keep an eye on. But what we're kind of thinking is once this batch moves through, we're probably going to see a little bit of a lull in the activity. But overnight tonight, a line of thunderstorms will come through that could impact the majority of the region. That would be a damaging wind threat. Also, the potential for some locally heavy rainfall that could cause some flooding as we go late tonight into early tomorrow morning, and it could cause some power outages. So even if you're not affected by the storms now, make sure you have a plan in place for overnight. We always say make sure you have multiple ways you can get alerts in case they are issued, especially since some of these could be during the overnight hours. But the active tornado warning have for Lee County, Virginia, this goes until 2:45. And again, it's also right along the border here between Claiborne County, also Hancock County, and right through Southwest Virginia into Lee County. Matt, I know you've been checking in with the Weather Service offices. Anything else that you've seen? Are they planning on extending this any further to the east? Any other updates you've got?
Haven't had any immediate updates on that active tornado warning, but we're just going to have to keep a close eye on it as it continues to quickly travel off to the east. Like Ken mentioned, more storms developing across Middle Tennessee. And like we've talked about maybe in the past, we have a round of storms moves through, maybe not as much energy. The next round maybe not as significant, but the storms that are impacting northern portions of East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, Southeast Kentucky at this hour, they moved through Middle Tennessee a few hours ago, and notice more storms have developed. And there are severe thunderstorm warnings on them. So there is still plenty of energy for storms to tap into. That's why we were talking about rounds of severe weather. We are really just at the beginning of this event. It is going to be a long evening and a long overnight as rounds of potentially strong to severe storms are set to move in. We're going to have to keep a close eye on these storms as we get closer towards the end of the day, but then especially into the overnight hours. So at this point, Ken, watching those storms closely, but of course, the storms that are moving through our area currently. Let me send it back to you.
Yes, you can go ahead and have your outdoor plans if you're not impacted by any of these storms. Sure, let's just make sure we do have ways you can get alerts, especially maybe if you're out at area pools. A lot of the pools, neighborhood pools or community pools are opening as it is Memorial Day. Memorial Day to Labor Day is usually the times when they open. Just make sure you do have ways you can get alerts in case any do get issued. We always say that. So the tornado warnings, we'll see how long these go. 2:45, the way it's looking still for Lee County, Virginia. Also portions of Harlan County. I'd say the worst is through Bell County, Kentucky. They'll probably drop that pretty soon. We'll see. But they're continuing basically this warning right along the northern Claiborne, northern Hancock border with Lee County, Virginia, due to this little area here that we're watching. So let's continue to put a track, and I'm going to put it right on the border, basically between these counties, so we can kind of get an idea of where it could impact. So we're talking about Cowan Mill, 233, Erie Mill at 233. Looks like Thomas Walker High School, 237, Eds Mill at 239, and Martin Creek at 239 as well. And it would be right there again into Lee County, Virginia, pretty close to the border with Claiborne and Hawkins County, or Hancock County rather, excuse me, that could be affected by this line. I'd say the back part of this tornado warning, which is set to expire in Bell County, I'd say you're free and clear, Bell County, Kentucky, from this warning. But areas to the east, I'd still say Harlan County, and especially down Lee County, Virginia, Claiborne County, and Hancock in Tennessee, we need to keep an eye on as this continues to move east. Again, it's not quite as pronounced as what it looked like earlier, but there's still some, at least mid-level rotation, we call it, with this. As the radar beam is going up, it's seeing some rotation. It can't tell if it is all the way at the surface itself, but we're treating it as if it were a possible tornado. But damaging winds easily possible with this as it comes through. Looks like maybe even on this edge down into the new Tazewell area, we could be seeing at least some type of rotation with that as well. But this track, that would be where the worst part of the storm is going to be. Hopewell, 234. Thomas Walker High School again about 237, and Sunnyside at 241 as this moves to the east. We'll stay on the air at least until these warnings expire, but then we'll probably go back online and stay online until all these warnings have been dismissed. But again, it's our policy, if there's a tornado warning in our viewing area, we stay on the air until that warning expires, until the threat expires. But we will get you back to regular scheduled programming soon. I know that the NHL playoffs are coming up at the 3 o'clock hour. We'll do our best to get you to that. for sure. And we'll keep the crawls going at the bottom of the screen to keep you updated. But know that you can always get us online and through our app as well when bad weather happens. Just let me get an updated track on this. Worst part of that cell, again, straddling now the border between Claiborne, Hancock, and Lee County, Virginia, where the possible tornado would be. We're talking about Atlantis Hill, right around 238, Martin Creek, 239, Ramsey, 244, and Wilson Hill, about 244 as well. But again, there's not a lot of activity areas to the south of this. We're not seeing a lot of rain elsewhere. This has all been to the north, but there is the potential for additional storms to develop back to the west because we've not seen any activity back through here, and there's a lot of storm fuel that could be developing or help to develop these storms back to the west. And I know, Matt, you've got more on that line that's kind of making its way through the mid-state as we speak.
Absolutely, Ken. And an update for you. So the National Weather Service, at least for us locally, in Nashville, takes care of Cumberland and Fentress counties. They just put something out between about 1 to 4 p.m. They are watching this line from about Clarksville right now, moving from Nashville through Lebanon and eventually making its way to Jamestown and Crossville. This northern area along I-40, in fact, where the storms have already moved through, this is their main area of focus. This is what they're going to be watching as we go through the afternoon. So if you live in Cumberland County, if you live in Fentress County, you've already had a storm roll through, but we are not done. The same can be said about everyone. There's additional rounds expected, another round right here, and then we'll be watching the radar as we go into the overnight hours as well. So, and like Ken mentioned, most of East Tennessee, we've been a bit quieter, aside from areas closer to the Tennessee-Kentucky state line and those in southeast Kentucky. That's still where we have the active tornado warning in effect, and also the severe thunderstorm warning at this point. So Claiborne County, Hancock County, still under that severe thunderstorm warning. Main concern with that line is going to be straight line wind damage as it continues to push off towards the east very quickly. So watching it very closely, and of course the heavy rainfall, which could lead to some localized flooding, especially as we get into the early part of tomorrow morning. As that last round moves through, we're talking about rainfall totals with the system between about 1 to 3 inches when all is said and done. And if you remember yesterday, a lot of us were woken up by very noisy, non-severe storms that rolled through in the morning, but those systems produced about 1 to 2 inches of rain. So 1 to 2 inches yesterday, 1 to 3 inches today. We're going to have to watch that flooding threat, especially the first part of tomorrow morning. But we continue to watch these strong storms roll through the area, especially right along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line, looking at the potential, again, as the reds and greens come together, where we still have that active tornado warning for roughly a little less than 10 minutes for Lee County, Virginia. But we're going to have to watch it very closely as it continues to straddle the state line with Virginia at this point. So Tennessee here, Virginia here. Here's Hancock County. So watching this storm system, especially those from Sneedville northward, and then eventually making its way towards Hawkins County. And this storm system has really stayed together, stayed on a very similar path, traveling right along the state line further to the east. And we can still see there's evidence of it, at least a weak rotation, if anything, in the area of Lee County, Virginia. And that's why we have the active tornado warning continuing as we go for roughly the next 9 minutes or so. So watching this very closely, watching the severe thunderstorm warnings, but especially the tornado warning, which remains in effect also until 2:45. So in the area of Thomas Walker High School, Ed's Mill, and headed over towards Wilson Hill as well in southwest Virginia. This is really the only storm system we are keeping a very close eye on as it continues to push out of the area for at least Virginia. But like I mentioned, we're watching it very closely because it's still staying on this path in the area right along the border, Tennessee and Virginia. Hancock County, severe thunderstorm warning continues until 2:45, and there's still the potential of very strong winds as the storm system continues to push off to the east very rapidly. Where you're seeing these brighter greens showing up, that's our indication that there's the potential for still strong winds rolling through portions of Claiborne County, eventually making their way towards Hawkins County. And we already have had reports of some power outages that have been a result of this storm system. Let's check in on the numbers with Margot.
Matt, we've already gotten reports that in Fentress County, they're seeing close to 2,000 customers without power. We also have I have my mic off. I'm going to throw it over to Ken while he has a few updates on the storms moving through.
All right, thanks a lot, Margo. We'll get that fixed for you there. Again, still have the active tornado warnings just a little bit longer for Harland County. This goes until 2:45. Also, Lee County, Virginia. This goes until 2:45 as well. Kind of hard to say, but what we've seen, again, with this entire line is it's been moving east. At times you get the little indentions or the little spin-ups where there is that potential for a tornado. I'd say we're almost done with Harland County. Areas to the west, we're doing fine. Bell County, you're most likely done with even your severe threat for the short term here. So I think you're okay. They'll probably be dropping or trimming back part of that watch or warning rather soon, but we do need to still focus on this area going through the Claiborne County community, heading over towards Hancock County. Gusty winds could be a huge concern as this continues to move east, and we've seen that with the power outages across much of the area. But right through here, let me just take a look. We'll do a quick track so we can get kind of an update on some of these communities that could be impacted right along the border again now with Hancock County. Looks like they've trimmed back this warning. There's not much left of it now. It goes until 2:45. So another 6 minutes from right now. But just ahead of this, we're looking at Thomas Walker High School 241, Wilson Hill 247, Cedar Hill at 250, Blackwater School at 251 in the Vardy community at 254 as this moves towards the east. So still the threat. There could be a quick spin up. Damaging winds certainly going to be a possibility with this as it continues to move east as well. There's an updated scan for you. So we're clearing a lot of the western side of Lee County, Virginia, but not right here in the central part as it's bordering portions of Hancock County. It looks like Claiborne County's been dropped from the tornado warning portion of this, but your severe thunderstorm warning still goes until 2:45 as well. Margo has an update now on some of the power outages. Again, we've seen these lines of storms move through, and they have caused a lot of power outages, not just here, but up into southeast Kentucky as well. Margo?
That is true, Kim. We've been monitoring all the power outages, especially where these storms have been and are expected to go towards. Now, again, Fentress County has seen about close to 2,000 customers without power. And again, this storm system is leaving a lot of areas without power. So this is why we're telling you, hey, prepare before the storms arrive. I know here in Knox County, Tennessee, close to Roane, Loudoun County, not seeing anything right now, but we keep telling you, hey, there's going to be storms later on, and kind of taking a zoomed out look just to see the entire state of Tennessee. Yes, we are dealing with this system right now passing through southeast Kentucky and the northern portions of our area, but if we take a zoomed out look kind of going towards the backside of Nashville, there's a second line, and the second line is expected to impact us. Now, it's not going to impact us until a little bit later this evening, and then we have even another second line heading through later on tonight going into tomorrow morning. So this is why we keep repeating, hey, you need to prepare now. Hey, you need to prepare now. So if you're in Knox County, Tennessee, any of our Great Smoky Mountain counties, our plateau counties, our valley counties that aren't being affected by these storms right now, you need to go ahead, charge your devices, have kind of a plan for whenever these storms do arrive. Flashlights, batteries, anything you name it, snacks as well, just so that way you're prepared before these storms do make their way in. Again, our watches and warnings as of now have that tornado watch lasting until 4 o'clock. So we have about an hour and 15 minutes left of this tornado watch, which most likely we're going to see get extended as we do still have a lot of ingredients, a lot of storm fuel in the area that could cause us to see those possible quick spin ups. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in place until 9 p.m. for the areas highlighted in orange. And most likely we have that severe thunderstorm watch for the rest of the area also highlighted in that blue. So just again, be aware of what's going on. We're going to continue to watch all these severe thunderstorm warnings in the area. But again, a look at our severe threat level for today. We're in that 3 out of 5, and the next round is coming overnight. So that's why we're telling you to prepare now. I'm going to send things over to meteorologist Matt Condon with a few updates. Matt?
Well, Margo, they have issued another severe thunderstorm warning for Harland County in Kentucky. And on the warning, they've indicated that the storm system that we've been watching for almost an hour now is capable of producing roughly 70-mile-per-hour winds in the county. So definitely a storm system you want to take seriously. It's already reported done damage, whether it was in Kentucky or even in northern portions of East Tennessee. So we want to take this seriously, as 70-mile-per-hour winds can certainly knock down trees and result in power outages. And like Margot has been updating us on that. So keeping a close eye on Harland County, the southern portion of the county still technically under a tornado warning at this point, but straight line wind damage also a concern. So we still have the tornado warnings in effect. They are set to expire at about 2:45. So in the next 2 minutes or so, we will see what the National Weather Service decides to do. Letting them expire, which makes sense, but we still have the severe thunderstorm warnings continuing. So we still want to treat this storm system seriously, even if the tornado warnings are set to expire. So we can watch them go off the radar together. But notice there's heavy rainfall right now, stretching down from southeast Kentucky and continuing into northern portions of East Tennessee, specifically from Claiborne County. So likely seeing rain, New Tazewell and Tazewell right now, quickly approaching Sneedville and Hancock County, and watching the storm system as it continues to push off to the east very quickly, headed in the direction of Hawkins County, then a little bit closer towards the Tri-Cities. So headed to Kingsport, eventually outside of our viewing area. But heavy rainfall, repeated rounds of heavy rainfall as we go throughout the evening into the overnight hours has the potential to lead to some localized flooding. So we're watching it very closely and still seeing strong winds showing up here. So gusty winds as this line pushes through. Straight line winds can do damage, and we've already had damage reports so far. And we're really still at the beginning of this event. We're going to have to watch the radar as we go throughout the night and into the early morning hours of Memorial Day. So about 1 more minute, we'll see the tornado warnings set to expire, but the severe thunderstorm warning does continue for Lee County, Virginia, as well as in Hancock County and Harland County in southeast Kentucky. So this storm system is still packing a punch, even if there is less indication that the storm is rotating, capable of producing a tornado, but still that concern. Straight line wind damage, certainly a concern as the storm system continues to push off to the east. But with the tornado warning set to expire in roughly about the next minute, Ken, let me send it back on over to you just to get another look at the radar.
Yeah, and what we're going to end up doing is here when these warnings expire, we're going to go ahead and go back to regularly scheduled programming, but we're going to stay on air, or excuse me, online and on our app. But we do want to give you an update. Again, we're just seconds away from these two warnings expiring. They're gone now, so no active tornado warnings in place. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning, though, for Lee County, Virginia. This is going to go until 3:30. We don't see an indication yet that they'll extend the severe thunderstorm warning any further to the east for Claiborne or into Hancock County, but we'll wait and see. But upstairs, just let me know when we're ready to go ahead and sign off on air, but we'll stay online until these warnings are over with. Okay. So we'll go ahead and here in just a second and sign off here on air, but we're going to stay online and on our app. You can always download that, stay up to date, go to WATE.com. Again, we're not done with our severe threat yet. There are some additional opportunities a little bit later in the evening across the region and then overnight tonight as well. And if there are, we'll certainly come back on. So we will sign off now on air, but we'll stay online and on digital until the other warnings expire. Thanks. All right, so we're still online and on our digital platforms here, and we're going to just stay on a little bit longer until these storms kind of clear out of our viewing area. So we still have a couple of warnings left. There's severe thunderstorm warnings for the north up through here. This is going to be, my computer just locked up, wouldn't you know it. Areas to the north, this is going to be into Harland County, Kentucky. There's that severe thunderstorm warning in effect here, and this one goes until 3:30, same as the Lee County, Virginia storm. So it's moving east at about 40. Damaging winds are still going to be our main threat here as this moves through, but we'll stay on again just a little bit longer. I don't think that warning, it's not going to last that long because it's a little further to the east to where most of that warning has been issued. So probably another 15 minutes or so for Harland County before we see this warning expire, making its way through southeast Kentucky. But as we mentioned, This is kind of the short term. Once this goes through, we have some additional storms that have been forming back towards the west into Middle Tennessee, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on these storms as they kind of approach our plateau counties a little bit later this evening, or if not late afternoon, evening across the area. So you can see these storms are back towards the mid-state now. We haven't had any storm activity in and around our plateau counties really, even over into Knoxville itself. So the atmosphere is still very conducive for additional storms to develop, but the immediate threat almost out of our viewing area for now. We'll keep it on just a little bit longer up here into southeast Kentucky, this Harland County, that goes until 3:30, but it won't take that long before this actually pushes through the area. Let me go back here quickly to Morristown's radar. Margot Altschuler's with me here as well. You're keeping an eye on this, Margot. I think just probably 15 more minutes or so, I'd say, before this threat is over with. I have not seen anything further to the south with the extension of these warnings into Claiborne or Hancock County. Have you?
I have not, Ken, but I
Okay.
do want to point out that in National Weather Service chat, they are reporting of flooding along Highway 72 in Harland County, Kentucky. And I mean, it makes sense. We're seeing these reds, these oranges kind of near Sampson and even near Everts in the Kentucky area. We're seeing some very heavy rain. So again, that's one of the threats we were expecting with these storms moving on through. Again, seeing those heavier showers. Let me change my radar actually to where it's coming from, Jackson, Kentucky, just to showcase how heavy this rain is. So yeah, again, you're seeing the purples, the oranges, the reds. So there's Sampson right there. And again, this is along that severe warning storm moving on through. So the heavy rain is going to be an issue that's going to cause localized flooding. And as Matt mentioned a little while ago, yesterday morning we saw those storms move through, and we saw about 1 to 2 inches just yesterday. And with these storms moving through today, we could see close to maybe 1 to 3 inches. So those totals on top of each other definitely are going to cause localized flooding. So while you're driving, I know it is a very busy weekend, especially with it being a holiday weekend. Make sure you're paying attention to the roadways so that way you're not hydroplaning. Also, remember, turn around, don't drown. You never know how deep those kind of water or those ponding on the roadways are and how fast moving they are. Remember, it only takes about 2 inches to knock somebody off their feet, about 6 inches to knock a mid-sized car off its kind of tires. So again, remember that. But again, we're dealing with this severe warning storm for Harland County, Kentucky, again until 3:30. So we have about an hour left with it. We're seeing lots of lightning with this storm, and I believe, Ken, it does have that tornado tag still with it, if I am correct on that thinking.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. I didn't look. I've been reading up on what's going on areas to the south, Margot, and at this point, it doesn't look like they're going to extend that warning into Claiborne or Hancock County. But yes, we're still keeping an eye on this storm that's in extreme eastern Harland County, Kentucky, mainly a damaging wind threat the way it's looking right now. So the Everts community, Bob's Creek, Centerview School, areas east, St. Charles School, make sure you're kind of in your safe spot as this goes to the east. Looks like it is near Bob's Creek around 252, 10 spot 256, Woods 259, and Black Mountain Elementary right at the top of the hour at 3 o'clock. So the warning goes until 3:30, but it's going to clear our viewing area before that time frame this quickly as this is running through. So again, a quick check what we're talking about, 10 spot at 255, Kill Dave around 257. There's an update for you. Keeps updating because the storm's moving so quickly. Redbud around 3 o'clock as this continues to move towards the east. Getting some reports of some damage in the Corbin area, basically right where that initial tornado warning came out on the Laurel County border with Knox County, Kentucky. So no real surprise there with these storms as they roll through. But again, that was earlier with the tornado warned storm. What's left of it is now moving through eastern Kentucky and eastern sections of Tennessee, at least into Claiborne County and also into Hancock County. Doesn't look nearly as potent as what it did earlier. We're not seeing those extremely strong winds, but still wouldn't be surprised if we had some at least 30 to 35 mile per hour winds kind of making their way through Hancock County now. So heads up Sneedville as this kind of tracks into your area. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this cell, kind of what's left of it into Harland County as that's moving to the east. But regardless, you're going to have some very heavy rainfall, some gusty winds as this makes its way east. Officially, the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 3:30. it'll move through our area, our responsibility for viewers, a little sooner than that, probably the next 10 to 15 minutes. So I'd say by the top of the hour, we'll probably be able to end our live stream for now. But if anything does happen a little later this afternoon, of course, we will come back on air. But the storm that we're tracking now looks like it's near Black Bottom, 254, Dion, 257, Gordon, 304, and Sand Hill about that same time. Still could be some very strong winds, at least 30, 40 plus mile per hour winds as this makes its way towards the east. And we've been showing you this. If you kind of put this into motion, this is our future radar product. Shows you how this line will continue to make its way east over towards the Tri-Cities by about the 4 o'clock hour. So it just shows you how fast this is going to be racing through the area over the next hour or so. Meteorologist Margo Altschuler again has been kind of keeping an eye on this. And we're not done yet. We have another opportunity of some storms probably a little later this afternoon across our plateau counties because there are some storms that are forming now pretty close to the Nashville area. And Margo's going to talk a little more about those.
Yeah, Ken, watching this line in Nashville very closely because it is trekking east and going to affect our plateau counties later on this afternoon. And this isn't even a part of that second round that we've been talking about. Now, again, a look at our Storm Tracker 6 radar. That's that line kind of just south of the Bowling Green area and just north of the downtown Nashville metropolitan area. Now, I do want to also point out that in National Weather Service chat, there was some trees blown down in Fentress County and Jamestown. So just again, make sure you're kind of avoiding those areas that have damage. And we're going to continue to watch everything. But that was from that storm just about an hour ago that was moving through. That's now moving through Harland County, Kentucky. It should be out of our viewing area here in the next few moments, like Ken mentioned. But again, watching this line right here, kind of near the Nashville area, they actually put a warning out for that area. This is for Sumner County until 3 o'clock Central, so 4 o'clock our time. We're going to keep a very close eye just because places like Cumberland, southern Morgan County, Roane, Loudoun County, even Knox County, we have not seen these storms just yet. And those storms are going to take advantage of the ingredients that we have present in those areas that have not seen storms just yet. But again, we're going to keep track on everything, but just a zoomed in look of what's going on here at home, kind of taking a look at our radar from Morristown, the reflectivity here, seeing some rain still kind of near the Sneedville area and along the Kentucky-Tennessee border. So we're going to continue to watch everything, especially those rain amounts, and we're also going to continue to watch those severe thunderstorm warnings as they begin to exit out of our area. But again, we're going to stay until about the top of the hour once these warned storms move on out of here, and then we'll jump back on if we see any more warnings present for the area. But again, we're going to watch that line that's moving through the Nashville area as it begins to make its way closer towards East Tennessee, again, making impacts possible later on this afternoon. So it's a good idea to go ahead and have your weather notifications turned on. Again, it's a holiday weekend. I know a lot of us are pretty busy wanting to be outdoors, but again, it's very, very important that you have your notifications turned on, especially because we had those 2 tornado warnings already, and those areas that are still under that tornado watch until 4 o'clock Eastern have not been run over yet. So we're going to make sure to keep you updated, whether it's on WATE.com, on social media, or just hopping on online with these kind of lives right now, just to give you these updates, especially when we're not being impacted just yet. But again, watching this line kind of moving through the Sneedville area, heavy rain, lots of lightning, probably hearing loud thunder in the area as well. I'm going to throw it over to Ken. Do you have any updates from chat?
Yeah, Margo, just been watching. I think they're going to be continuing this warning a little further to the east out of our viewing area once it pushes into eastern sections of Lee County, Virginia, but it's almost out of Harlan County, Kentucky as we speak. But earlier, this line of thunderstorms that came through had the tornado warning on it for portions of Laurel and Knox County, Kentucky, near Corbin. And Austin Martin, our news anchor here, he's got some information on some of the video that's come into the newsroom on that storm damage that came through earlier. Austin?
Hey, yeah, Ken, this video just coming in from one of our viewers, Robert Scott, there in Harlan, Kentucky. You can see the wind kind of bending those trees right there. That rain moving through pretty fast, just as you guys were saying. This was part of that storm line moving through. Some absolutely crazy. If you take a listen, if you can hear it there, I can hear it a little bit in my ear. You really hear just how strong that wind and rain really was as it came down there in Harland, Kentucky. Again, those storms moving on to the east. Of course, we'll keep you updated. I am throwing back over to Ken Weathers.
All right, Austin, thank you so much. Yeah, that's kind of indicative of what we were expecting this afternoon across the area with these storms and what still could come a little bit later today. And that's the next thing we want to talk about is what is coming next. Meteorologist Matt Condon here as well, and he's going to kind of walk us through what we expect the rest of the afternoon and then also as we go later into the overnight hours as well, because we're not going to be completely done with our storm threat after this batch makes its way through. Matt?
Absolutely right, Ken. We still have the opportunity for additional strong to severe storms. We're watching move through. So we've had round one move through. We're still watching these storms associated with this first initial round. But what's expected to happen this afternoon is additional showers and storms will develop, and they will develop a line. And as the cold front, which is still well off to the west, rolls through, that's what's going to give us the opportunity for that overnight threat. And that primary concern is going to be straight line winds. But like we've already seen this afternoon, you can get quick spin up tornadoes, or at least tornado warnings, as that line continues to push off towards the east. So the tornado watch remains in effect for most of the area until 4 o'clock. Just talked to the National Weather Service in Morristown. They are going to have discussions with the Storm Prediction Center to see if the watch will be extended. Likely it is going to be. And that severe thunderstorm watch continues, especially for areas off towards the east, closer to the Tri-Cities. So we are not done with severe weather, even though this initial round has moved through. It has been quiet in Knoxville, a lot of clouds, but temperatures have been able to warm up, and that's why there is plenty of energy for storms to tap into. So we are watching all modes of severe weather as we go into the night tonight. Main concern is heavy rainfall. Like we've already received reports of an inch of rain just from the storms that have moved through. We picked up 1 to 2 inches of rain yesterday. So there's a lot of moisture already around, more on the way. Watch out for low-lying flood-prone areas, especially getting out the door tomorrow morning. Wind damage remains the utmost concern as that line of showers and storms rolls through early tomorrow morning. Straight line winds of 60 to potentially even 70 miles per hour. Can do damage like it has already done, especially northern portions of East Tennessee. We'll continue to watch the threat for some hail and additional tornadoes, or at least tornado warnings, as we go into the night. So round two really moves in during the overnight hours. We'll continue to get more data and fine-tune these arrival times. But first on the plateau, generally after midnight, and then into the early morning hours, continuing to quickly push off towards the southeast, eventually moving into North Carolina. The storms that we've seen today have been very scattered, mainly for areas especially to the north. The overnight threat is widespread. Everyone is likely going to be impacted by rain and lightning and that potential for very strong winds that can result in damage. So it is really important that you have ways to receive watches and warnings. You may already be watching us on our app. Great resource. Before you go to bed tonight, make sure your phone is not in do not disturb mode, as we need ways to wake you up just in case an additional warning is issued during those overnight hours. Tell your smart speaker, turn on weather alerts, a NOAA weather radio, also good resource. And of course, we'll keep you posted on air, online, as well as on social media. We're watching that risk for a potential flooding. Flood watch remains in effect for Fentress and Cumberland counties, as well as McCreary County in Kentucky, but everyone has the potential for flooding today. Notice our flood risk at a level 3 out of 4 clips northern portions of Fentress County and now even more of McCreary County. Most of us under a level 2 out of 4. So watching those flood-prone, low-lying areas, especially early tomorrow morning into the overnight hours. We're talking about rainfall, additional rain on the way, 1 to 2, maybe even upwards of 3 inches when all is said and done. Beyond the system, it does turn a bit quieter and a bit cooler. So we're weather aware this evening as we go into the early morning tomorrow. Then notice as we go through the week, a quieter forecast returns, highs return into the 70s. For now, though, let's send it back on over to Ken.
Yeah, we were talking with the Weather Service here about the watch that goes officially till 4 o'clock, Margot, and I think what they're going to end up doing is they'll probably have to either amend this, like extend the time, or replace it with an additional one. Now, the tornado watch expires at 4. The severe thunderstorm watch goes until 9. My guess is they'll probably add on to the severe thunderstorm watch and include the majority of the area possibly to go through the rest of the 9 o'clock time frame. So we'll see what happens. They'll continue to update us on that. But as of now, really the main warnings that we've been watching are almost out of our viewing area up through southeast Kentucky. Quick look shows that well up here towards Harland, and that's moving east over into our Virginia, out of even our viewing area. So what we'll go ahead and do for now, we're going to go ahead and sign off for now, but we are going to keep an eye on those storms that are back to the west in Middle Tennessee that could be approaching the plateau several hours from now as we head towards this evening. If we don't join you again online, we will be here on air at 6 o'clock or after the hockey game is over between Florida and New York. That's what's on WATE 6 on your side right now. So we'll go ahead and sign off now. Crawl will be running at the bottom of the screen to keep you updated as well. If any more impending severe weather happens, we'll come back online on our app and, of course, on air if needed as well. But for now, we'll go ahead and sign off.